So this is my Fuse Zamasu Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta Ramp Burn deck. One copy of the leader. 4 Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta. 4 Fuse Zamasu the Divine Immortal. 4 SS4 Vegeta Rise of the Superware. 4 Whis the Resting Attendant. 4 Majin Fire West Supreme Kai. 4 Kibito Kai's Attendants. 4 Fuses Universe 7 United. 4 SS3 Goku Overflowing Spirit. 4 Goku Striving to be the Best. 4 Tragedy Overground. 4 Senzu Bean, 4 Dimension Magic, 4 All Too Easy, 4 SS Gold Tanks Absolute Unison, 4 SS4 Goku Protected the Earth. So this deck incorporates a couple of different things, strategies. But the ultimate goal obviously is to ramp up until you can get SS Blue Gogeta and get his active main ability to choose up to 4 of your opponent's life and place at the bottom of the deck. So the goal is to get your opponent down to at least 4 life, but I still would try to get my opponent down to 2, regardless, just in case. Because if for some reason your opponent can negate this skill, prevent the skill, or for some reason you can ramp to get to him, but not ramp to get his effect. But he is 35k, you can swing with him and the leader and stuff like that, at least try to do 2 damage, right? So always try to get your opponent down to 2 regardless, even if you have a way to deal 4 damage. The thing I like about this is that if for some reason your opponent still has 4 life by the time you play this card and you happen to have 15 energy, then you can still win the match. Usually it's hard to take your opponent from for 4 to 0 when it's already been past turn 4, for example. This past turn 4, your opponent should at least be at 1 at that time. It'll be easier. Not easier. It'll be hard to obviously take your opponent life down to 0. But if they have 1 life, you can get fortunate that at least 1 attack can go through. But it's harder to finish your opponent off when they have 4 life just through attacking, because your opponent can try to stop multiple attacks. Probably let 2 to 3 attacks go through and still have 1 life left, right? So when it comes to how much damage your opponent takes, a lot of times after turn 2, that tends to be up to them. But turn 1 and turn 2 is it's up to you. The faster you deal your opponent damage, especially 4 damage, the better. Most of my red decks, I tend to do 4 to 6 damage. Between 2 to 3 turn 2, turn 3, between those 2 turns. And then after that, it's just a matter of just finishing out the game, which is why I use Burn, or effects similar to Burn, just to finish the game out, because I know it's going to be hard to finish the game, especially when they're adding new negates. What's funny, I just realized is like, oh man, I'm not even trying out the new negate in here. I'm still using, the Senzu Bean strategy, Dimension Magic, also easy. I mean, these good cards, they work. But you know which one I'm talking about. It's the blue one. I think it's Frieza's Army Reinforcement or something like that. Frieza's Reinforcements, where it can negate attack and make a token if you have 5 or less life. So. But whatever works. That is still a good card to consider. The leader. Well, one thing is that I made a SS4 Vegeta version of the deck that brings this out. So I noticed some people commented on the video and they seem to like the idea. So I appreciate that. This was another version of the deck. Obviously, this is just a remake of this deck because I've done the Zamasu Gogeta deck before. This is a newer version of the deck. So we have the striving to be the best Goku and Treasure Overground strategy, along with you just have only the 9-drop Fuse Zamasu Divine Immortal. It's just another way to get the Treasure Overground, because we could ramp to 9 and just hard cast the Treasure Overground, right? So having the Fuse Zamasu Divine Immortal is just another way of getting there, because you can just hard cast this for 9, swing with it twice because that's dual attack, and then use his active main / battle ability, and then just play the Treasure Overground from our energy area, drop area, or deck. So options. One thing to note is you always charge strategy overground as energy. You don't really want to charge your other cards. This is definitely your dedicated energy you want to charge. Maybe a couple units since you can reuse them through the effect of Goku or for Spirit. And of course we got our Super Saiyan for Vegeta and Whis. Imagine the Fire, we got them for ramping, obviously, so that's a ramp strategy. And of course our SS Blue Gogeta for our win con. So we have a couple strategies in here. Fuse Zamasu. Active main, once per turn, choose one card from your life. Place into drop area. If the card was blue, draw a card. But we never use our ability unless we're, like, let's say at 3 life and we're trying to awaken. So we'll be like, oh, we're at 3. We activate the effects, and that way we at 2, we'll draw a card because obviously it's the X amount of blue. Then awaken, which means we draw 2 more cards, and then we'll be on our awaken side, which has the permanent effect that if damage is inflicted to your life, place 5 cards from the top of your deck into the drop area instead. And it's for every damage you take. So if you take 2 damage, like from double strike and whatnot, it'll be 10 cards. If you take triple strike, it'll be 15 cards. If you take quadruple strike, it'll be 40 cards. So you get the idea. Of course, single damage is always okay to take because you don't have that. When you only have like 2 or 3 negates, you'll take the single damage, but stop double strike, triple strike, quadruple strike damage, obviously, because those types of attacks can make your deck out sooner than later. You see that this is a 60 card deck, so it's going to take a while before you deck out once you awaken. And auto, when you discard attach, draw a card. Keep that in mind. You might not want to attack with the leader and draw, depending on the situation, because it could lead you to decking out. But it's up to you. Choice is yours on how you should do. I mentioned you need 2 or less life to awaken. So the fact that this leader has essentially a second health bar, the game theory here is because of that, we have a higher chance of being able to ramp up to 15 energy so we can drop our SS Blue Gogeta. We already have a relatively easy way to ramp up at least to 10 through SS4 Vegeta. And we can, ramp even further with Whis, the Wrestling Attendant, and Watching Fire by Supreme Kai. I've done a turn 4 play where turn 2 I played Majin the Fire with Supreme Kai, then turn 3 played another copy of her. So that way on turn 4, I was able to tap 2 of her 4 energy, play Whis, play Vegeta. Vegeta ramps me 4 energy. I use the 4 energy, play Whis, Whis ramps me another energy. So that was a way to that was a way to get to 9 energy plus the 2 Legend Fires. Can help you. So 9 plus the 2, that's 11 energy ish. Obviously that's for hard casting. This is Blue Vegeta and stuff like that. Once you get the ability to play a second Vegeta, it's over good. This is why we have Senzu Bean to combine with the Vegeta, because if you have 2 Vegeta, Super Saiyan 4, and 2 Senzu Beans, then you could play 1 Vegeta, right? Ramp up 4 energy, swing with Vegeta, double Senzu Bean, so that way you can go from 4 energy to back up to 6. And it'll be a 40k swing at your opponent. And then the 6 energy you have, you use it to play a second copy of Vegeta, ramp up 4 energy. If you want, you could play a Whis to help you ramp up another energy. Obviously, you want to make sure you have 1 energy for Dimension Magic and Ultra Easy, obviously, right? Or you can play, play whatever else you want. You can keep the energy up so that you can use it for, your Goku Overflowing Spirit, or you can play your Frieza Universe 7 because it's a barrier blocker. So it's just a reusable barrier blocker like that. Or you can play your Gotenks, which has the -3 ability to let you choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards, ignore a barrier, and place them up on your opponent's deck. So it's a good way of clearing board. Plus, it's 20k dual attacker, so you can attack with it, restand it, and then keep it in active mode so you can block with it. So you can attack and block, you know, every turn type of thing, or attack with it twice, and use its -3 abilities so that we can clear your opponent's board. So it's a board wipe if you use it right. Same goes for Goku, you play him, do his -2 ability, bounce all your opponent's battle cards to the hand, so get some, you know, board wipes and some board controls. And of course, Goku Overflowing Spirits lets you recycle these, so you can just keep looping them. Then we got Kabuto Kai. Kabuto Kai lets you bounce the Overflowing Goku from your field to your hand, so that we can use them every turn to negate an attack and re-bounce, you know, reuse your unisons. You know, obviously something useful would be to use Absolute Unison Gotenks to, you know, block an attack as a blocker, right? You'll lose a mark and all that basic stuff. Then, when your opponent attacks with another attack, use this to bounce Gotenks back to your hand, so that way you can at least stop 2 attacks in 1 turn, and then have Gotenks ready to be used the following turn after that type of stuff. So, and then, like I said, every turn you can play -3, clear your opponent's board, and just do that every turn. Just keep playing this, bounce it, play it, blah blah blah. You get it. There's a loop there. All that good stuff. Having a 35k indestructible is always good, and dual attacker, so the fact that you can swing with it every turn, so it's just nice to have another beat stick alongside Gogeta, which is our main win con. Gogeta, of course, is a 30k blocker, so that's always good to have. You can attack with him. He has an auto that enters your training switch him to active mode, so you can attack with him, defend with him, you know, sword and shield strategy. Gogeta has barrier, which is very important, and you know, it has the active main that once per turn, if you have 15 or more energy, choose up to 4 of your opponent's life and place it at the bottom of the deck in any order. So that's really nice to have. This very says indestructible dual attack. This has the ability to essentially ramp up to 4 energy, which is what we mainly use it for, plus its ability to attack and block. Same thing we play, we ramp Magnify Whisper Hinkai, has barrier, and you can tap her to hard cast cards. It's not for paying the effects of, like, you know, active main or something. It's for hard casting cards. Kabuto Kai lets us bounce one of our battle cards back to our hand in order to choose up to one of our opponent's battle cards. 3 calls, so let's bounce it to our owner's hand. So it's a good way of getting rid of something our opponent has on the field, especially if it's a blocker or something. Get it out of the way and be able to reuse our cards. For example, like I said, with the whole Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta ramp strategy of playing it and ramp and then try to Senzu Bean and then play another one ramp, you could just play him, ramp, right? Use him, use the energy to, you know, 2 energy to play Kabuto Kai. You know, because you want to set him up, right? You want to set it up that he's on the field so that we can use him, and then of course use the energy for other plays, like, you know, Dimension Magic, Alt Easy, all that good stuff in your SS3 Goku Overflowing Spirit. And then the next turn, you'll use Kabuto Kai's ability to bounce Vegeta back to your hand, you know, after you charge energy and stuff. Then play it again, ramp up 4 more. So you get the idea, is being able to play this Vegeta more than once will allow us to obviously ramp up an extra 8 energy on top of all the energy we're already playing, so it wouldn't be that hard to get to the 16 energy and up in order to, 1, use 10 of that energy to play SS Blue Gogeta and then activate his active main at the same turn and finish the game right there and then. So that explains those. Frieza, of course, 20k blocker barrier, so that's always nice to have. Because he's 20k, he has a higher chance of surviving, so you can just block and he'll stay on the field a little bit longer. But if he dies, that's okay, because we can always pay 1 blue, 2 red, and play him from our drop area with the active main ability, so very, very nice to have, reusable blocker. And of course, with this leader's milling ability, you know, if these end up in the drop, having multiple copies, being able to play multiple copies back from the drop is useful. 1, because they're 20k, so you can swing with them and, you know, apply pressure. Also, you can use them defensively, of course. A nice little basic play I like to do is play Vegeta, get the 4 energy ramped up, then use 3 energy just to play Frieza's Universe 7. That way I have 2 blockers, that way I have 2 pieces of defense, or use all 4 energy and put a Gotenks Absolute on the field And I could do the -2 and draw 2, you know, just to keep my hand nice and thick, just in case, depending on the, you know, situation that I'm in. So a lot of variety, a lot of options. I would like that. I like things to have options, so I could choose to do one thing or another. I already mentioned that this is used to negate an attack and to bounce our unisons from our battle area, from our unison areas back to our hand, so we can reuse them. But also can grab them from our drop area if we ever end up in a scenario where, you know, our leaders are awakened and we start milling. This can always grab our unisons back from our drop, which is always nice. Goku's trying to be the best barrier with for permanent. Your opponent's battle cards 2 cards or less can't attack, so this will prevent opponents 2 cards or less from attacking, of course, which is really nice. And combine this with Tragedy Overground. This Tragedy Overground will take care of our opponent's 4 costs or higher, so that way our opponents are limited to being able to attack with and try to use their 3-drop battle cards. So Tragedy Overground, it's a field card, permanent. This card can't be removed from your battle area by the skills of your opponent's battle cards. Permanent, when your opponent plays a battle card with an energy cost 4 or more, it is placed into the owner's energy area in rest mode instead. Auto, when this card is activated, choose all of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, which is important, right? And place them into the owner's energy area in rest mode. So this, you know, is a, you know, obviously 9-drop board wipe, which is really nice. The effect, not the fact that it's a 9-drop. Obviously, it'd be nicer if it was cheaper, right? But, you know, beggars can't be choosers. It's good, does what it does, and the fact that you can board wipe and then it's a floodgate afterwards is just so delicious, especially combining with striving to be best Goku. Ironically, when I was at the 1K event, when I went to the tournament, somebody did use this strategy against me. And I was like, oh, nice to see people using this combo. And obviously, I'm very familiar with this combo, so I was able to play around the strategy. Still lost the match, but was able to play around the strategy nonetheless. I came close. You know how it is. Just needed my attack to go through. Opponent's defense was good. So, Senzu Bean combos with Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. Does combo well with Whis, Pressing Attendance, and anything else you want to play. There'll be times where I'll play like a Majin the Fire West Supreme Kai's ability, tap it to play a Senzu Bean. Senzu Bean my leader, and untap its energy, and then use the energy to potentially play out a Goku Floyd Spirit to negate an attack, just to keep her out, you know, to protect her and keep her out on the field long enough that I can use her to hopefully get into SS4 Vegeta, which is our major ramp, which is our main ramp card, but the way we get there as quickly as possible is Majin the Fire West Supreme Kai. It might be a scenario where on turn 2 you play her, turn 3, since you have 3 energy plus her, you can drop Whis, and Whis will give you an energy, of course. So you'll be at 4 energy, and then you can use that 1 energy to use Senzu Bean, Dimension Magic, or Too Easy, whatever you got at the time. Another thing you can do, which is a nice old school strategy, is use that energy to combo off Whis, because Whis is 10k for 1 energy, so you can combo Whis off, defensively. So it's a nice little basic play. You can still do something where you use that energy for Senzu Bean, right? So that you can untap energy and then use one of those energies and Whis in order to stop an attack. So as potential for attack synergy. Let's see what else. Yeah, we were at Senzu Bean, of course. You can choose any card and give it 5k boost for the duration of turn and untap 2 energy. Mainly we use this for our leaders, so that way we have if our leader is not awakened, it'll be a 15k. If it is awake, it'll be a 20k for the duration of turn. We tend to want to do that because ultimate goal is to defend our leader as always, even if our leader does have a second health bar, as I call it. Dimension Magic, of course, negate attack. Choose up to 2 of your blue energy and switch up to active mode. Sparking 5. If you have 5 or more cards in your drop area, take a card from your life, add it to your hand, and play this card for free. So essentially a free negate, so that's kind of nice. All Too Easy. Counter attack if your leader card is blue, which it is. Negate the attack. Choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost 1 and return to the hand. So you can potentially stop 2 attacks with this. Has the permanent that if this card's in your drop area, you can activate from your drop area by paying it its cost. and sending it and a blue card in your hand to the warp. And you can only play one copy of All Too Easy per turn, so keep that in mind. That's this Gotenks episode using, already mentioned, he's 20k dual attack blocker. You can attack with him twice, attack with him once and block with him. -2, so you can draw 2, or -3, so you can clear your opponent's board of 2 battle cards. Ignore barrier. SS4 Goku, Protector of the Earth, essentially Time Walk. Use it to triggers auto. When this card is played during your opponent's next turn, they can't attack with battle cards unless they choose one other battle card with an energy cost 2 or more and place it at the bottom of the deck. So this will make it hard for them to go wide. And then, of course, it has the -2 ability. Choose all of your opponent's battle cards, ignore bear, which is important, right? And return them to the hand. So this is, a 5-drop board wipe. It has a -1 ability where it lets you draw 2 cards and then choose one card from your hand, place it at the bottom of the deck. So you don't use that effect that much, but it can come in handy once in a while if your hand's getting light. But typically, you're just going to play this for its auto and it's -2 to clear your opponent's board. Essentially, reset your opponent's board, and it is a 15k, so don't forget to attack with it. Take advantage of it being on the field. And there's times where you do get to do the -2 twice. The first time when you play it, the second time, the following turn, if you were able to successfully get an extra turn by its auto plus its -2 effect, which does happen. Gotta love that. And of course, this deck does, like I said, ramp, so that's a thing. Another thing you can do, a little basic play, is play Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, right? Ramp 4 energy, swing with him, Senzu Bean once, so that we can end up with 5 energy and get him 35k attack. And then, since you have 5 energy, use the 5 energy to drop the Goku Protector of the Earth, right? And get his auto, trigger the -2, and this will, increase your chances of getting getting to your next turn, which should be a turn where you can get either fuse Zamasu with the Divine Immortal, or you can get Tragedy Overground online, or you can just drop your SS Blue Gogeta and just take advantage of the 35k battle card with barrier that eventually will allow you to do a play where you can do it not -4. It's active main ability and do up to 4 of your opponent's life. Won't be too hard, especially if you still have the Vegeta in play by the time you drop this thing, because the following turn, like I said, you will be able to, if you have Kibito Kai, play Kibito Kai for 2, bounce the Vegeta back to your hand, replay the Vegeta, that kind of stuff, because all you need is a total of 8 energy, and already you clearly have more than enough energy, because you need a 10 for Gogeta, so you should definitely have more than 10 energy to be able to play the 6 you need, or the 2 you need for Kibito Kai and the 6 you need for Vegeta Rise of the Super War. So obviously that's the idea. You definitely want to be able to combo off those cards and get that synergy off, and be able to win very easily. As always, with a strategy like this, because I have, of course, couple of Zamasu decks. They're mostly like attack based and stuff, or I just use the leader for its second help wire basically ability, and just build different decks around it. But the 2 main things I like is the skillless strategy, the OTK 1 wide, summoning like 8 to 16 30k skillless blue battle cards, and not even get into attack, as most of my opponents so far that I've used it against tend to scoop once that happens. So that's always funny. And then of course this, because I'm definitely a big fan of this card. I do own the card, and it looks so awesome. The rarity, it just looks so fucking badass, and I've been doing some test hands. I know some people are wondering, if I play most of these decks. And yes, a lot of these decks I do play and use myself. But typically, I tend to do test hands to make sure that they're balanced and they work the way I want them to work, and then it's just a matter of just showcasing the concept because, like, for example, this deck is pretty simple, straightforward. As long as you can get your opponent to, even if, let's say, hypothetically, you don't do no damage to your opponent, it wouldn't be that hard to ramp up and get this out here, this Gogeta, and to the field, get the 15 energy, trigger its effect to do 4 cards from your opponent's life and put it in the bottom of the deck, and then stall with the with the Frieza Universe 7 United, even dropping a Tragedy Overground to make it really hard for your opponent to play some big battle cards, Goku Tournament. Just having this 2-card combo right here would be enough to make it hard for your opponent to do much. And then of course you're just blocking attacks, negating attacks, using stuff like the Unisons to board wipe and reset and just slow down your opponent. It wouldn't be that hard for you to do this effect twice in a game and just win through that alone. But I'd rather attack, do the most basic things you can do when you play the game. It's not that hard to do. First 4 damage is always the easiest. I've been saying that for years. Always the easiest. The next 2 requires effort, and the last 2 is the hardest because your opponent will do everything they can to prevent themselves from losing the last 2. So since the first 4 is easy, just deal in the first 4 easily. Drop this bad boy, triggers effect, and win. That's it. All day, every day. Yeah. And that's the end of the video.